Hello! I am going to show you how to have fun with SPSS and Word formatting. I'm sorry, but even I can't pull that off. Anyway, what we're going to do today is we are going to work on how to copy and paste our outputs into Word because we run into a lot of problems with this, especially in the t-tests. So I've already run a few t-tests and I have my blank document open here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write a title on here. It doesn't matter what it is, just gives me a little bit of space so that I don't put my first output right up in the top left corner of my paper. So let's just do t-test SPSS output formatting. How about that? And if I spell everything correctly, my goodness, that's just unheard of. Okay, and then let's buy a space or two. Why don't I go ahead and set my paper up? I want it to be in double space, Times New Roman 12. And never ever forget, in APA, you always want to make sure your before is 0 and your after is 0. And it is, so we're good. Now let's go back to the output. And I need you to just blindly trust me on this. It is possible to highlight all three of these and copy all three at once and then paste them on the document together. But you really truly need to trust me on this. It is not going to save you any time because when you get into Word and you've transferred all three as one unit, it's really messy to try to write or manipulate or move once you get into Word. So the better thing to do is just highlight it, right click, copy one at a time. After 12 years of working with SPSS, I still do it this way just because it works. Although as students, a lot of times we use SPSS and Word together, it is very clear. I'm going to make a few extra spaces before I bring another one over. It's very clear that Word and SPSS do not like each other very well. They were not made to work together. I mean, these weren't invented by the same people that were trying to get them to communicate. So the formatting can be a little bit of a bummer. I'm going to make a few extra spaces. I'm going to go back to my output. I do this because it's just tedious. I do one at a time. I've got room in between. I can write in between them. I'm going to copy. But then I just kind of, after I get them all over, I just kind of need to work on my Word document. I'm going to paste. And I have one more I want to get. The big mama, the T statistic. And there we go. Now, I've got 4 over. So for right now, I'm going to focus on my Word document. I have 4 that I've brought over. I can see already that some of them are not fitting. And they're kind of way out there. I have no idea where the end of them are. Now, if it is possible that I can grab this little box and I can try to move it as such. But as we see, Word does not let me, once I have grabbed this box, it's out here. It doesn't fit right. I can't manipulate it. It really is not the right way to go. So I'm going to undo that. And that's the second time you're going to have to trust me today. Do not ever try to move it from this top left box, this little box that we see, because it is, for whatever reason, when you pick it up and move it, it kind of almost sets it in there like cement. It sets it like it would be a JPEG or something to that effect. So we don't want to do that. How do we want to move it? We want to move it from, there's actually a bottom right box. I can barely see it on the outside of my screen. So I'm going to go down here to the bottom. I'm down here and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And now I can see that second box. The bottom right hand corner box, I just want to grab it, drag it in. Voila! It's there. It's beautiful. My box is within my margins. If I move this box, my margins get messed up. It gets really icky and it's not very friendly. So all I have to do is just come over here. I want to highlight my box. I want to highlight my output, which is being, oh, I know why. Because it's on two different pages. Look at that. So that extra space I allowed, I want to sit my cursor in between the boxes. I'm going to push it down so I have it all at least on one page. I can highlight the box and I should be able to see it out here to the left. There it is. There it is. And I can push it over. Got it. Perfect. So now I've got 4 boxes that are all at least within my margins and on the page, but I can't see them. It's too small, so I'm going to go back to my normal size. And now we're going to have fun with formatting. Yay! See, y'all thought that the statistics wouldn't be fun, but my goodness, this is pretty incredible. I don't know why, but I'm centering my title. This first box looks great. We don't have to change it. If we want to, though, as we brought the others in, we can scoot this out a little if we want to be a little bit more similarly aligned. You don't have to. That's kind of your call. I'm going to take away some of the additional space here. And if I needed to write in between, I've got plenty of room. My boxes are not touching. Sometimes you'll find if you get within a box and you start to type, oh, that one didn't work. Sometimes it'll capture it and it won't go beyond the box. You can see I don't type quickly. And the problem is you're within that box's space. So this is working. I still have enough room. Probably delete one more. Now what I want to do, I'm looking at this paired samples t-test right up here. And I can see that some of my numbers, like in my mean, that's kind of messed up. I can see that some of my words are a little bit messed up. So because we squished it all together, now we need to go through and sort of make sure that it fits nicely. One thing that I do is right about here where the confidence is the 95% confidence interval of the differences. I like to get rid of the words confidence interval and just make it CI. It gives me a little bit of extra space to play with. Okay, so pair 1. Right in here, there's an invisible line. This is pair 1. This is our math test, pre-test, and post-test, which is what I ran. And as you see, I can hold my cursor over any of these lines and then just click and move it. So if I went too low, the 4 is down here. If I come back a little bit, now I have a beautiful, pretty number. Standard deviation. So my number still looks good, but I look up here and I see my word deviation looks pretty icky. So you want to keep an eye out for that. You want to make sure to check for your words and the numbers. Make sure they're all looking nice. And that looks very nice to me. Look at that. It fits on one row. Nice to read. Pull this out. Beautiful. Nice to read. And this big old box that is a mess. This is on 2 different pages, so what I'm going to actually do, I want it all together so I can manipulate it. I want it on 1 page, so I'm just going to hit enter a few times and push it down to the 2nd page while I make her pretty. And there are 2 rows of information that we should have. We should have the equal variance is assumed, and the equal variance is not assumed. And just to help me for right now, I'm going to go in and I'm going to underline this row. Just because it gets, to me, it's just a lot to look at. So I've got my Levine's test for equality. First, these first 2 boxes are for my Levine's test. And I have a little bit of room in here. And I can see my numbers look good. Words look okay. It's getting kind of squishy in the middle here. So scoot over a little bit this way. My t-test, my degrees of freedom. So the other thing I see is the word difference here. My E's kind of continually don't match. Let's just change that to diff, period, for now. I think that looks quite a bit nicer. And again, I'm going to change this confidence interval to CI. Gives us a little bit more room. And I can even go up here after Levine's test and put a colon, get rid of the word for. Quality of that period. So I don't know if you noticed that, but I didn't have a period on the end. I put the period on the end. I ran out of space. I can just buy myself just a little bit of space. There. Now that box to me looks so much nicer. Everything's nice. My negative signs are in front. If I run out of space, my negative signs get all, takes 2 rows. So you always want to keep an eye for that. We got my negative signs, my decimal points showing up. Now it's way down here on the bottom, but I think it'll all fit on the top now because I've made it such a nice size. Oh, looky there. And everything fits. And there we go. And that is how we want to reformat or resize our SPS table or our output tables once we put them into Word. 2 things to remember. Do not copy and paste them all at once, and do not touch this box. The only time you want to touch that box is if you want to backspace and be done. So you do not move it from this box. Always move it from the lower right-hand side box, and you should have no problems. Good luck with SPSS.